Hebrews making moves, bitch. Time of day. Get your ass in class. Keep the law of the Lord and keep you safe. Through the gates of language. In the hood I'm hanging. Life of a priest. Every day my life in danger. Tell me what you see when you see a young priest. Certified in the scripture, well known in the streets. When our people need water and need something to eat. Where the fuck you Christians at? UPK is what they need. When you step to a creek, put some respect on it, nigga. Commanding General, your honor, put a check on them, nigga. It's rolling like a pebble. We gon' flex on these Christians. It's the home of the truth. It's time to step on these bitches. Now I'm talking about fighting for the kingdom, righteous leadership. Show them how to slay them demons. Fighting for the kingdom. Truth is my first life. I promise I will never leave them. Fighting for the kingdom, a dream of stay sweet. My people never knew freedom. I will fight for the kingdom. All the money that you got, bitch, ain't worth shit. We dying in the streets. You talking about smoking this and fucking that bitch. On the radio with the whole shit. 125th, ready for the road, bitch. UPK, ready, fuck, what, get a dish. I'll put it forward with my friends in the wind. Hold up, one West, UPK. Bitch, ass nigga, get the fuck out the way. You ain't doing shit right, so bitches don't hate. Ain't a real Jew, get the fuck out my face. Won't hesitate, the pool blade, get cut like a raw face. These niggas, they bitch made. These gas niggas with them damn bitch way. One West, bitch, to the fucking these way. UPK, that's the lie. Cause the fucking line might lose your eye. Oh, look, why? The niggas wanna lose their mind. Fucking with the damn for a try. Blood of the Israelite ain't no bitch in my bloodline. You done coming down. Dropping up the fucking UPK sound from the tape round. Won't ready go bed, that's what I'm about. Fuck with the eye, can we knock it down block? UPK can't be stopped. Blessed by the Almighty, most high. UPK niggas don't lie. Setting up songs worldwide. We don't fuck with the other side. Fuck them other guys. UPK don't fuck with the kind. Israel's on the rise. Know what I'm talking about? Hold up.
Know what I'm talking about? Ooh, it's nice. Yeah. So throw away this way, put the strap.
Right.
Get that order. You know what?
Few solutions.
So many suggestions. Catch me your tongue.
One more good song. Former part special today.
God.
Still in the hood with the ox, setting up zones every time. Protectors of the people, black watch. UPK don't preach the prophets, we gon' bring it out. Still in the hood with the ox, setting up zones every block. Protectors of the people, black watch. UPK don't preach the prophets, we gon' bring it out. Still UPK, still undefeated. Still one quest, still keep the heat up, still in the streets, still on the block. My people need healing, preach and prophets, bring it out. Black, white.
If you can, you got some stuff at home, like an extra USB, trying to get this thing working. It's a 2K webcam. I don't know what you need, to be honest, but I don't know how. I don't have all the pieces. I don't have all the pieces to hook it up. But I think the USB is a good start. Because I know it's got USB connection right here. But this is a 2K webcam. Got a moving job. It lights up, so it's not light. It's not I just don't know how to hook it up.
Protectors of the people, black
See something.
UPK don't preach the prophets, we gon' bring it out. All we gonna do
Look it up. Yeah, that's a moving job. And I got another HD webcam too. It's a real good one too. For the moving job. And like 4 more, but they have a different type of connection, some type of other connection. I probably need to, because there's like 4 other webcams in there, and they're all like 1080 same. But this only one that was just USB. So we use this for the town hall. So we have one camera on that and one camera on the crowd. or speaker or something.
Yeah.
Do it like that. And from the string yard, then go there.
Setting up songs every block. Protectors of the people, black white. UPK don't preach and pockets, we gon' break it out. Still in the hood with the house. Setting up songs every block. Protectors of the people, black white. UPK don't preach and pockets, we gon' bring it out.
All right, we're live.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai Barak Thumb, the older brothers, Yahweh Shema Allah Thumb, Bashim Yahweh Shai. Right? This is ISUPK.
That was me.
Okay, that's okay. ISUPK Indianapolis, you know what it is. We're coming out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We teach you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans what's right and what's wrong. Without us, right? Without the truth, right? Without this Bible, you wouldn't know how to live. That's right. Every woman in the world, now I can't say every woman, but a lot of these women in the world, they going crazy. What they going crazy over? Because the Supreme Court made what's the word I'm looking for? Not appeal. Yeah, appeal. Roe versus Wade. Right?
That's right.
That's something heavy that's going on in the news right now. And of course, anybody who thinks it's okay, right? Imagine this. You live in a world today where if you go and you walk into a grocery store and you shoot somebody and you murder them, it's wrong. But because you make an appointment and you doing the killing and it's your choice, right? And you want to go and kill a baby, then it's okay. That's what kind of society you live in, where you think it's okay to murder regardless of, it's your choice. So it's your body. So I guess it's okay to murder. Well, you might as well just open up and murder for everybody.
All right.
You might as well just whoever wants to murder, just go ahead and turn it into what's the movie that you love, Kat?
Purge.
The Purge. You might as well just turn it into the Purge, because that's what's happening to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We are being purged in these abortion clinics, right? Our women have become so disconnected from reality and what's right and what's wrong that we think it's okay to murder our babies. And you're learning that lesson from the oppressor. Like, you see them protesting and standing at the justices of the peace's house and just doing all kind of craziness so they can murder. Like, imagine someone having that same energy around child molestation. They're like, well, it's my preference. I want to molest. I like young children. That's who I want to be with. Would you give them that same? Would you allow them to do that? What you're asking for is wrong according to the Lord, right? And of course, ISUPK, we're gonna bring it out, because your Christian church, they lost faith. If they ever had, I can't even say they even had any. But say, for instance, Jesse Jackson. He was a great civil rights leader according to the world, and he had a stance back in the day that he was against abortion. Of course, he ran for president or vice president or something. I'm pretty sure it was president. He ran for president, right? And guess what? He changed his stance. That's the problem. You got men that are willing to compromise for position, for wealth, for power. Those are the people that you follow in the world. Not in ISUPK. We're not going to compromise what the Lord told us to stand for. You got brothers in the Bible that wouldn't even eat a piece of pork to save their life from a horrible death. And here is your Christian pastors, man. They so willing to bend over right backwards to get this bread. They'll do anything. That's why one of my favorite scriptures, we're going to get that one first, Isaiah 56:10. We're going to grab that. Because your Christian leadership, man, they so greedy. They so greedy, and they don't know how to lead the people. All right, so I'm going to read this. This is Isaiah chapter 56, verse 10. It says, his watchmen are blind. Your leadership is blind. They can't see what's going on.
Right.
If you Black, Hispanic, and Native American, and people look to you for leadership, and you're telling people that it's fine to abort your baby, you don't deserve that leadership role. You're blind. You're blind to the fact that the Lord is against it, and you're blind to the fact that you are destroying a nation of people through genocide. That's the Lord's chosen people that you're destroying. Right? And the scripture say this, say, you are blind. This precept applies to so many, not just Christian leadership, political leaders, Islamic leaders, that people who think that they're gonna, control or direct traffic for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans when they shouldn't. They should just sit down, get in class, and learn. It says these watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are dumb dogs. Right. They cannot bark. What good is a dog, right? Now, okay, in today's society, dogs are more companions, but there was a time where dogs were used, like a farm dog. He rustles the sheep or gets the cows that you own the trailer, whatever. Right? Animals had specific purposes. You had dogs for hunting, right? You had all kind of jobs for dogs. Now imagine you got a dog that's for security, but he's dumb. He can't bark and he can't hear. That dog is useless. Right. Well, guess what? Your Christian leadership is useless. That's right. They can't provide any direction. They don't know how to get you out of this hell, out of this captivity. They have no idea. We went to I was rolling with Kevin Kapash yesterday. We went to a Christian coalition, a Black Christian coalition, right, at a Christian church. And the whole discussion was about now, admittedly, this is definitely something that we need in the Black community. It was somebody who died, I forget the brother's name, but he died in Indianapolis, and he had a mental disorder and basically a mental breakdown. Police were called. Turned out, the brother was killed, like so many scenarios in the Black Hispanic community. Right. And so this coalition is going after federal funding or state funding, right, to establish a clinical emergency response team. So people that are certified, psychiatrists, people that assist with mental disorders, right? And they will be first responders when there's a mental, someone's having a mental issue. Right. Concept. Right. So they're going after funding with this, and they're putting it, they standing in front of the mayor, in front of councilmen and state people, and they're pushing the agenda and trying to get established and trying to get funding. Right. And you think to yourself, if you're in the world, you're like, well, that's a valiant effort. Yeah, we need that. And you do need it. These devils don't know how to handle Black people, let alone somebody with a mental disorder, right? All right. And so, as we sit back and listen to them, we're like, ain't that what the Christian church is for? All right. Ain't that the whole job of the Christian church is to lead the flock? Ain't you supposed to be making sure, ain't that part of the scriptures where it says bring the tithes into the storehouse? What do you think the tithes is for? Right. It ain't for your Christian pastor to have the latest and greatest Mercedes AMG. Right. That ain't what the tithes is for. The tithes is for that you can build up a community and serve the Lord's people. Right. And then you won't need the police in your neighborhoods at all, let alone when there's some brother and sister with a mental disorder. Right. And so we looked at them and like, it's a good cause, but they're going about it all wrong. You're never going to get what you need from the devil. Why? Because you would have been happy. We've been here long enough, we would have been had. Right. We'd have been had our own communities with our own economics, with our own, emergency response team, just like these other communities. You can't just roll up in some of these Jewish communities if you don't live there. They have armed guards in their neighborhood. Right. Do they need the police? No. I seen one clip where the police tried to roll up in one of their neighborhoods. And I mean, this Jewish cat argued him up and down like if it was Black, he'd have been dead. Black and Hispanic, he would have been dead, at least beat the crap out of him. Wow. They said, you're resisting arrest and all kind of other stuff. So what we're seeking for, this is your leadership. They're seeking to join the beast. They're seeking to get, something that's never going to happen. They don't give a damn. Even they said it themselves. They said, the police started something, right? I forget what the specific name was, but it was They got with the mayor got with the police chief, and they established some team. Like, and this is supposed to be what they were looking for, like a mental emergency response team. They said they stood it up and got it going and established it, and then they patted themselves on the back. They said, look what we did. Now it's established, and they did nothing for the community. That's what you're going to get. And your leadership, you would think after all this time, would know this by now. But here's an important lesson that they don't understand. The oppressor is the devil, as the Bible speaks.
That's right.
If they learned that first and foremost, they would know that it don't matter what he says, because the scriptures say this in Psalm 55 and 21. His words are smoother than butter, but war is in his heart.
That's right.
Like, he talks a good game, but he's not going to help you. And you should know that by now. It's already established. He's hated you from the beginning. That's also a precept.
Right. If I could. That was also. Let me see if I can use 2 cameras real quick.
Yeah.
So try to test it out. That's what I got to test out anyway. The mics and stuff. Let me see how I can make it work real quick. Let's see how quickly I can switch. Let me see. Okay, perfect. Basically, what he's saying is heavy because we already went through that. I forgot what damn it was going to bring out.
Talking about the police and the leadership waiting on them to, and the government.
It was something that was. This is the same thing we went into we went to an MLK Center ribbon cutting ceremony where they opened up a new Martin Luther King Center. You know how that's going to go. Yeah. You know what I mean? Horrible child sex central is going to be over there. Right. So they opened up another Martin Luther King Youth Center, and we went to the ribbon cutting ceremony. There was a bunch of devils patting themselves on the back like they did something good for the Negroes, for the little Negro niblets, right, and everything like that. And I was bringing out to the brothers, what we're doing, what's happening here is redundant, and it's not the truth. It's not the answer, because I told them about the Marshall Islands, their island of Japhetic people, Pacific Islanders. They living out there eating coconuts, eating watermelons, living on islands. You know how they is. Yeah. So during World War II, America tested nuclear bombs near the islands, dropped over 1,000 nuclear bombs, tested them in the waters. The people of the island start getting cancer, start becoming born deformed, start becoming sickly, and getting every evil thing, sickness happen to them. Guess who was there to give them cancer treatments and studies and tests and medicine and food? Right. The same people that destroyed them. Right. What purpose is that? You need to stop the people that's destroyed you. Right. You need to reverse that. The same way the oppressor give you a Martin Luther King Center or give you some money for some grant loan crap is that he helping you with one hand and destroying you with the other. Right. So just as much money as they give us for some crisis response team, guess how much money they're giving for the kill a nigga response team? Right. That response team is doing just fine. Right. That response team got plenty of money. Right. So what we're doing is retarded because we're trying to get less than 1% of what he's paying to kill us from him. That's not going to help us. It's going to be something needing more than that. It's going to be the Most High. The knowledge and law, statute, commandments of the Most High. Right. Not no fraction of the money that he's paying to kill us. Right. What you gonna do with $2 million when he just gave $300 million to the police department on top of their original budget? Right. $300 million he gave to the Indianapolis Police Department. Indianapolis is not a gigantic metropolitan police department. It ain't no, this ain't San Francisco or LAPD or nothing. So they done got $300 million on top of their normal budget. You think the crisis response team getting a couple million is worthy cause? You fighting, you throwing stones at a wall, at a whole wall. You need a cannon, Negro. You need the Most High. Right. Not no damn little rinky-dink, whatever crap they trying to beg for. At the end of the day, you begging a white man for help. The white man not gonna help us. That's it on that. Yeah, that's exactly right, Cap. Because that's and then I think, like, for me personally, I don't know about you, Cap, but for me personally, when I go to these events, when we go to in Southern Ohio, we looking at events and we sitting there, like, because we went to one where it was about education, and they talking all this. Now it's all good. It all makes sense if you're in the world, but I'm looking at it like,
wouldn't it just be better to separate from this and try to establish your own? And they was harping on Haiti and how Haiti had tried to and missed the whole point.
Right.
Like they missed the whole point of trying to understand. They missed the whole point of what I was trying to say. Like, you don't have to leave to be separate. You don't have to go anywhere. You can stay right here and you can self-segregate. A lot of successful people do it. A lot of successful nations, for instance. I mentioned one earlier, the Jewish community.
Right.
They self-segregate, and they have a very successful economic, social, education, all that stuff.
They got their own schools, their own communities.
Yeah,
I went to a Jewish school one time. I didn't know where I was at. I thought I was in a 5-star hotel. And there's some classrooms. I walked by, a whole bunch of little Jewish kids looking at me like, whoa, what's a black thing doing in here? And I'm walking, I'm like, damn, I'm in the wrong spot. I was in the wrong spot. I was supposed to try to be somewhere else. But I got to see they had a whole circular, they had a lake in front, a little pond in front of it. They had the driveway was going around the pond into the building, the facility. So, and then the facility was magnificent and squeaky clean. I'm like, we don't got no kindergartners looking like this. With our own people teaching whatever they want to teach. Yeah. They can be teaching Nazism, all we know. Right. Who gonna stop?
Right. And that's the beauty of being able to self-segregate is you can, Lord allow, as long as you follow the Most High, you can establish what you want to do. Right. Now, of course, what we should be wanting to do is to follow the Lord. So, long story short, all these solutions that black people come up with is not going to get us the end result.
Right.
It's not going to get us to where we need to be. Why? Because even Black Wall Street, as grand as it was, as beautiful as it was, and black people just doing their thing, like I love that. I love to see old pictures from that. But guess what? If you ain't serving the Lord and the Lord ain't making your enemies his enemies, you're going to lose in the end. That's the bottom line.
Right.
Let's get the rest of this. They cannot work, sleeping, lying down, loving, and slumber. All right. Verse 11, yea, they are greedy dogs, which can never have enough. And that's what I think about. Like, the scriptures are so heavy when they say they're greedy dogs, never having enough. Because you ever just, like, sit back and think about all the money, like, when you was in the world, and I didn't spend a whole bunch of my adulthood in the Christian church, but, large enough part, so when I think about all the money that I gave to the Christian church, I'm like, man, that money didn't do nothing. Didn't help nobody.
Right.
And it was just a waste. And then I pray that everybody can find, every Black, Hispanic, Native American can find how that should be there. Right. I pray that they get those ties in here, and guess what? All the things that the Christian church is trying to do, we're going to do. Right. There's going to be some brother or sister having a mental breakdown. And before the police is called, somebody's going to call the ISUPK. Right. And it's going to be 10 niggas jump out a brand new truck there to resolve the situation. Right. With love for their people in the spirit of the Lord. That's right. I look forward to that day. I look forward to not having to ask the devil for nothing. Because guess what? Commander Johanna accepts tithes from the people, and what does he do? He fulfills the role that your Christian pastor is supposed to be doing. Right. When brothers and sisters need rent, when brothers and sisters need to eat, when brothers and sisters is getting deported, when brothers and sisters need, whatever. And that's why we say you need to come here, bring your tithes in here so we can do more of this. Then we ain't got to go to the mayor or the governor or no other stinking devil to ask for funding. We Black people rich enough. We got all the money we need. Right.
Hey, you always see me go with some rims. That's $3,000 right there. That's half the budget for a whole month.
Right. We got the bread. Yeah.
Oh, no, that was it.
We got the bread. We damn sure got enough money in the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community. I'll tell you another thing, just a sidebar, then we're gonna get go back to the abortion. But it all comes together because your leadership is telling you that it's okay to commit abortion. Right. Your leadership is telling you that, it's fine to do these things. It's fine to follow the heathens when really they're just greedy dogs, man. Never having enough. And that's the problem. You need leaders that aren't going to compromise for money. That's what you need. You find those brothers in the ISUPK.
That's right.
It says, they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, every one for his gain from his quarter. Listen, if that ain't talking about the Christian church and the Muslim model, I don't know who it's talking about.
Right. And if I could, at the end of the day, that's really what that whole meeting we had at that church, that's what it really was all about. Trying to get money, trying to get funding for something that we should have did 50, 60 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Really, we could have been doing the whole all along. It was good enough money for it.
Mm-hmm.
But now all of a sudden we got an idea to do it.
Yeah.
So nobody before us ever thought to police ourselves. No, none of your leaders actually cared to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why your leaders always stop.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we never were able to police ourselves, because our leaders were against it. Christian church ain't never taught to police ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And we never heard a church sermon say we need to police ourselves at all.
Right.
I never heard that out of a church sermon. I've been in churches for 20 years before I came into the truth. I've been in church, all them years. I never heard a church say we got to police ourselves.
Right.
It's time for our church to do what we got to do for this community. Church don't even say the word community. Church don't believe in community. So it's like that's all I want to bring out.
Yeah, no, and what you're saying is so true, because not only do they not say that we need to police ourselves, you remember we watched that clip where the cat was like, it's a black cat. He was in the Christian church. He was like, so what? They asked him what's the solution. He was like, we need more police.
Yeah.
They asked for more police. Now think about this. Most people know, just in general, most people know this as a fact. The poorer the area, the higher crime is. Why? Because no one's working, no one's earning money. So what do? They turn to a life of crime. Right. America should know that full well. Right. With the Irish, with the Jewish, with the Italians, all the mafias, all the mobs, all of them came to America and made a killing and did killing. Right? Right. Don't look at us now like we're just, some atrocities that, something that's never been seen before. America has a very dark history of mobs and crimes and, organized crime that was not black people. Right. So now don't look at us like we some crazy. Now that y'all eating good, y'all living deliciously, y'all want to look down on us when y'all are the real criminals. Your president is the real criminal. Let's drop. Okay.
No, I was saying that's right.
Let's drop it now. I say all that. I warmed you up, right? Just so you can keep in your mind who's leading, who's telling women that it's okay, right? It's okay to abort your baby, right? That's your leadership. And if you're not listening to the ISUPK, you're not listening to righteous leadership. You're just not. You're just not listening to righteous leadership. We're gonna get real quick. Let's just establish, since it's the law class, we gotta establish what the law is, right? We're just gonna make it plain for you. This is Exodus chapter 20, verse 13. It says, "Thou shalt not kill." Right now, simpletons will say, "See, you ain't supposed to kill." Then there's places in the scriptures where people kill, and then it's, see, the Bible's contradicting. No, right? You just don't understand. Right? That Hebrew word means murder. So the scriptures are saying, "Thou shalt not murder." Meaning you can't kill someone unjustly. Now there's something called killing righteously, and then don't be simple anyway, because the priest had to kill lambs, but you can't kill at all. Don't be simple and stupid. Come in here, sit down in these classes and learn. You can't murder, right? That's the whole point. You can't murder according to the scriptures. So what are you doing when you take that baby? When you have an abortion, that's murder. All right. There's no righteousness in that. There's not self-defense. Now, of course, there is a fallopian tube. I don't know what you call it. A woman will have to, sister has to let me know. But it's when the egg is in the fallopian tube. If it stays there, the sister dies. That's different. I'm talking about straight up. You don't have any medical concerns. You're pregnant. You say, I don't want the baby. You say, it's my body, I get to choose, and you go kill the baby. That's murder.
Right.
That's murder. And the scriptures we just read in Exodus 20 and 13, you cannot murder.
That's right.
Right? So let's just establish that. Let's make it known. Let's not make it like it's some mystery or some complicated decision. It's not complicated at all. If you have an abortion and it's not like protecting you medically, or like it's not required for you to keep living, right? That's against the scriptures. The Lord is against you. You just broke a commandment.
That's right.
So let's just call it what it is. Let's not let the women's rights group, rights group, have all these complicated things. Well, when I was in college, I didn't mean to, and I got my career. Damn all that, man. Listen to what the Lord says. The Lord says, you can't kill. Now, a sister will say, it's my body. Well, guess what? There's somebody in charge of that body. I know you don't want to hear that. We got to go to Corinthians now because you don't want to hear what the Bible has to say. And that's so much the problem today. A lot of women don't believe. A lot of Christians don't believe in the Bible.
That's right.
You understand?
That's right.
We need 1 Corinthians 11 and 3. If anybody has any questions in the chat, go ahead and drop them in there. We'll see if we can cover them. Man, keep me up. You still rolling over there, Kevin?
Yeah, it's still live.
Okay. All right, we're going to read 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3. It says, well, let's just start at 1. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 1. Be ye followers of me, even as I am also am I of Christ, right? Paul is saying, I'm a follower of Christ. You follow Christ, I follow Christ. Right? He's telling you to follow Christ. Verse 2, now I praise you, brother, that you remember me in all things and keep the ordinances as I delivered them unto you. Well, guess what? Somebody delivered something unto you before. I know there ain't nobody on the planet ever heard that you shouldn't kill. Everybody know that killing is wrong. Right? Like, even if you didn't hear it in the church or read it in the Bible, like just in the land that you live in, you can't kill somebody. Right? It's not a mystery. That's the thing that I hate about society now. It's like, it's such a complicated decision. No, it ain't. It ain't complicated at all. If I went into like I said earlier, if I went into a grocery store and I pulled out a pistol and I shot somebody, they would say, you're going to jail. That's, premeditated murder. You sit there and thought about that. Right. And went in there and murdered somebody, you're going to jail for life, or you're going to be on death row. But instead, they try to make it like when it comes to a woman, and that's why I love what General Hyman said, it's so heavy. And you only get these teachings in the ISUPK, man. You only learn this in the ISUPK. But society is trying to take away a woman's accountability. Like, women don't, and this is not all women, it's definitely ain't the sisters in the ISUPK. But sisters believe that they don't have to be accountable for their actions, right? And that's society perpetuates that and makes them think, oh, it's okay. Well, you know what? I didn't really want to have a kid, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. Well, you wanted to have sex. Everybody goes through sex education in like the 5th grade, so you know what the possible result is. So if you didn't want a kid, then you should have took precautions. Just like if you don't want to get put out on the streets, then you have to go to work. Like there's for every action, there's a reaction. You don't pay your rent, you get kicked out. Right? You lay down with a man unprotected, guess what? You're gonna have a baby. It ain't no mystery. We ain't talking about something that just was discovered on Earth 5 years ago. Right? So that's what I hate about what society is pushing and how women are being driven to believe that they are not accountable for sex when they are. Guess what? I understand some brothers ain't ish. Some brothers is, some brothers is not in the right spirit. But guess what? You should choose wisely. You shouldn't go to the club and find the brother who popping bottles. and he fast talk.
Right.
You know, you already know he got 4 or 5 other baby mamas.
Right.
You might want to choose wisely. You might want to get you a brother in the ISUPK. Because the brother in the world, he ain't gonna have that compassion. So yeah, he might just leave you with that child. And it's gonna be yours.
That's right.
So this is what we tell sisters, you better choose wisely. Same thing we tell brothers. Just like we tell brothers to be accountable and responsible and choose wisely, sisters need to do the same thing. Because guess what? You might end up with a loser. You might end up with a brother who just ain't got his head in the right place.
That's right.
Verse 3, it says, but I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ. Again, about these brothers, the brothers in the world, don't worry about them. We're going to get them. We push it every day. Classes, camps, events, counseling, every way that we can reach people. The internet, we trying to reach people. The radio, all this stuff. The ISUPK is trying to reach brothers. So they know and understand the scripture. The head of every brother is Christ.
Right.
If Christ was the head of every Black, Hispanic, and Native American, you wouldn't have to worry about a brother leaving you. You wouldn't have to worry about a brother, getting with you and leaving you pregnant, and then you don't have anybody to help. All right, you don't have to worry about that. Why? Because his head is going to be Christ, and Christ will do that. Christ said this, and I'm paraphrasing. He said, "You can't leave a woman unless she goes and commits fornication."
Right.
Like y'all can have the worst relationship in the world. I mean, just hate each other. And guess what? Christ says you can't leave that woman unless she go and commit fornication. Y'all gotta work it out. Y'all gotta get counsel. We got a nation to build and to raise.
That's right.
And that's what we need. We need Christ to be the head of every brother. Brothers got to accept that. Guess what sisters have to accept? They have to accept this. And the head of the woman is the man.
That's right.
That's gonna crush a lot of sisters right there. A lot of sisters hate to hear that. Yeah, your body doesn't belong to you. It don't. Your body belongs to the man that you choose to lay down with. I know you hate to hear it. I know sisters is on the internet crying, talking about it's my body. I mean, crying tears because you want to go murder a baby. That is insane to me. I literally seen sisters on the internet crying tears because they're not gonna be able to murder babies. Think about that. If that was reversed and you saw somebody who was crying because they couldn't go murder somebody in the grocery store, you would say this person is clinically insane. You would straight up and down think that this person was insane. Like that's something like Jeffrey Dahmer, some mass murderer.
Right.
So he crying because he can't murder more people. Was this go look it up on the internet? Sisters are literally crying on the internet, tears, crocodile tears.
Right.
Because they can't murder babies. Like, wouldn't the easier thing to be like instead of getting on the internet and crying, just saying, you know what? I better choose wisely. I better not be a whore. I better use protection. Right? At the least, if you're not gonna choose right, at a minimum, use some protection. But no, man, the spirit on some of these sisters in the world is the same spirit that the oppressor is carrying. And the oppressor don't give a damn.
That's right.
The oppressor don't give a damn. Right? And it says, and the head of Christ is God. So you know you're in good hands. If you got a brother that's following Christ, you need to follow him. God, sir. You need to listen to him. Why? Because Christ is his head. And the head of Christ is God. Now, you can't go wrong with that. And these is God's words. So now what are you going to say? If you're a sister and you want to murder a baby, what will you say now? Right? You're going to say, it's my body? It's not your body. Even the scriptures say that your body, once you lay down with a man, your body don't belong to you anymore. Let's get that next. Shalaki. I got it. I think it's right close. 1 Corinthians 6 and 15. Let's go back to the 6th chapter. Even the scriptures say this. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 15. Know ye not that your bodies are the members of Christ? That's what's really important there, right? And this can apply to several things, right? If you're an alcoholic, if you're a weed smoker, if you're someone who eats too much, if you're someone who cuts yourself, puts markings on your body, tattoos, you gotta understand, man. Like the scriptures say, know ye not that your bodies are the members of Christ? Like, how can the Spirit of the Lord dwell in you if you're not going to do what the Most High told you to do regarding your body? Right? That's first and foremost. Then it says, shall I then take the members of Christ and make them the members of an harlot? God forbid. Right? You can't join a harlot to this body. Let me drop down. That is not the scripture that I was looking for. Give me 1 second. If you have any questions, type them in. We'll see if we can get them answered. Let's see. 1 Corinthians 7:4. That was a good scripture too. That was talking about joining a harlot to the body of Christ. But the most important part of that scripture was, right, you are the members of Christ. Your body is the members of Christ. So you can't just do what you want to do. Like, imagine you read that scripture and you say, well, I'm just going to go and kill my baby. Well, your body is a member of Christ. That don't make sense. It's just like you going to smoke weed. That's the contradiction that I don't understand with Christians in my mind. You have some Christians that will be against, weed smoke, or I don't know, you name it. They're against child molestation. They're against other sins, but then they turn around and say, "Yeah, I'm down for abortion." Like, it don't make any sense. All right. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 4. The wife hath not power of her own body. That's in the scriptures. I don't know what to tell you, sisters. This is what God said. All right, we ain't just saying this. Now, we do repeat it, and we teach it because it's in the Bible, but we didn't come up with this. Right? You think that you can just go and do what you want because it's your body? And if you listening to class, I'm doing air quotes, because it ain't your body. If you lay with a man, that is your husband, right? And he decides, right, what to do. Now, if you got a wicked brother who Christ ain't his head and he take you to go get an abortion, then you don't know any better. You might be like, okay, yeah, we ain't ready for babies. But I hate to see when a brother wants a child, and some sister goes and says, "It's my body." Well, not according to the scriptures. And that's part of the problem. Christians don't believe in the Bible. Christians like to feel good. They like to come to church, go to church on Sundays, listen to the choir, drop some money in there, and they feel that they've done their obligation to God. When in fact, you sin against the Lord just by even stepping in going to Christian church and praising white Jesus. That's all you're praising. It says the wife have not power of her own body, but the husband, meaning this, the husband has power over your body. So if you think that you can go and have sex and lie down with a man, have sex with him, and then go and abort a baby, according to the scriptures, that's a sin. Now, of course, there's another part of the scripture that talks about the husband doesn't have power over his body, but of course, he's not going to have an abortion. That particular scripture I'm pulling. So for sisters who say that it's their body, when in fact, it's not yours. The husband have power over it. That's what the scriptures just said. That's right. Right. So I say all that to say this. Abortion is wrong because you're murdering and not only that, like you're doing something harmful to your body. Like there's a natural order to pregnancy, and there's all kind of hormones that come into play when you're pregnant, and then you just snatch that all out. Basically, the Lord is against that. That's right. You gotta know. And so the argument had it being your body, we just crush that with the scripture. So I had that one to you precept for sure. Right. Furthermore, think about the sheer number of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans there would be, right? And a lot of sisters can't even think past next week, let alone nation building. But from a nation building standpoint, the Egyptians tried to do the same thing. The Egyptians tried to get rid of, the male children. Let's get Exodus 1 and 15. Right, so this is Exodus chapter 1, verse 15. It says, "And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shipra, and the name of the other Pua." Verse 16, "And he said, When ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill them." That's evil and wicked, man. Right? That's Margaret Sanger back in the day. The Pharaoh was just like Margaret Sanger, right? Like wanted to cut the population of the Israelites down. Wanted to kill babies, man. And you wonder why we say we stand up and curse this place. You wonder why we stand up and and speak against the evils of this place. And people hate us for it. You would think that people would love us because when they read this in the scripture, they say, "Oh man, that Pharaoh was terrible." You're looking at it in history, right, and saying it's terrible, but you're looking at it in real time and you don't think nothing of it. Right. You don't see the parallel in today's time. Right. It's right there in front of your face. And here you are condemning Pharaoh, but you're praising Barack Obama. You're praising Joe Biden. Right. You're praising everybody who say abortion is good now, but you look in the Bible and say, "Oh man, that was evil." America's no different. America's trying to get you to kill your babies. That's right. The same way that Pharaoh tried to get us to kill babies during the time of Egypt. All right. It says, "Then ye shall kill them, but if it be a daughter, then she shall live." But the midwives feared God and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. That's what we need. We need sisters like that, like those two midwives that was named in the scriptures. They named, like, people know their names in history. They have lived on for thousands of years. And that's the spirit we need in our sisters today. Sisters got to know and understand, like, in your mind, you think that you can't raise kids. In your mind, you think that, this brother did you wrong, and he probably did. He might have. Who knows? Some of you sisters be wicked too. You mess around and drive your brother away, right? But you think that you can't raise a kid, and so your only option is to murder that baby. When that is not your only option. All right, you got another option, and it's a great option. Come into the ISUPK. Come into the Israelite School, Universal Practical Knowledge, and get some help. Come in here and get amongst these brothers and sisters and build your family. If your family can't help you, get you a new family. That's what we always tell our brothers and sisters. Come in here and get a new family. That's right. You got all kinds of brothers and sisters in here that watch kids and make garments for kids and help feed kids. It's a family in here. Your family don't want to help you, come in here and get a new family. That's right. Get some help, get the help that you need. That's the whole purpose of a nation. Like, you got a whole nation of brothers and sisters who got your back. Like, when you walk, like, most black people don't know what it is they don't understand and know what it is for somebody to have your back. I'm going to tell you, it feels good. It feels good to know that, Lord forbid, I die. Like, I got a whole nation of brothers and sisters that would be calling and checking up on my family and trying to help my, same way that I would do it, Lord forbid, if a brother in the school passed away. Right. Like, to me, that's something, I love my family in the world. I still got good relationships with most of them, but I ain't got to rely on them. All right. I got some people, And like I would hate for my kids. Like I said, Lord forbid something happened to me, and my kids got to be raised by somebody in the world. Like, to me, that's like one of the scariest things. But I know, like, there's always gonna be a brother calling, like, hey, how's it going? How's school going? The Lord is against smoking weed, right? You ain't don't get into none of that. Your father, he wanted you to come to the school. You better get up in here, get in all black. Like, to me, like, that's beautiful. Right. Like, I got brothers and sisters in here that's gonna look after my kids, or at least try to steer them in a direction toward the school. If, like I said, God forbid something happened to me. Right. That's what you can do. You can get that same thing in here in ISUPK. If you feel like you can't raise a baby, don't fall into the trap, man, because really all they want you to do is murder your kids. They don't care about your health and your welfare. They don't care about none of that. They care about killing Israelites. I know it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe, but if you look at the history, it was established by a woman who said that it was too many niggas. She didn't use them words, but that's really what she was saying. Yeah, if I could, her story was that she was out looking at black families and seeing how many kids they were having. Mm-hmm. And she was noticing that, okay, they can't take care of that. They're not living in the best conditions. Mm-hmm. And so in her mind, if there's less of them, then they can live in better conditions, which ain't the reason why they living in bad conditions. Mm-hmm. It ain't because they got a family of people. That's not the reason they was living in bad conditions. It was living in bad conditions because the white man is the devil. But in her mind, which is devilish mind, she like, well, it's because there's too many of them. If there's less of them, right, they'll live better because they'll have less mouths to feed and more space in their home. Right. And blah, blah. So then she said she had an epiphany, like, this needs to be my I need to fight for this for life. And you know what I mean? That's heavy because it's just like the example that you used about the Polynesian island. That's way off and kind of is doing their own thing on their island. Here they is living a good life. Right. Bombs is getting tested and blown up in the water. They getting sick and cancer and being deformed. And then here comes the knights in shining armor to save them. Right. Well, they the whole reason why they destroyed in the first place. They was doing fine before all the bombs and all the pollution in the water and all that stuff. Yeah. You understand? So now this Margaret Sanger had that same spirit. She's trying to help people who don't need the help that she's offering. We didn't need that help. Hey, Salam, I was she was trying to offer help that we didn't need. I'll just get we didn't need help with reducing our numbers. What we needed was the government taking their foot off our necks. That's the help that we needed. That was really the issue. Ain't no issue in raising kids. Right. How many of y'all was raised poor and turned out fine? All right. A lot of people. I wasn't poor, but we sure didn't grow up rich. Right. And so their thought process on trying to help us is to reduce our numbers. To them, that's going to solve the problem. Well, the Most High has another solution. He's going to reduce their numbers. Right. He's going to reduce their numbers. Right. And I know y'all don't want to pray for that. Your good Christian heart won't let you. Your good Christian heart won't let you pray for them to have reduced numbers. Right. But see, here's the problem. They not only pray for you to have reduced numbers, but they take action. Right. They take action to reduce your numbers. They create legislation. They create laws to help to get your numbers down. They get hands-on and dirty too. They send some of their people into your neighborhoods and reduce your numbers. Right. They'll get you in that prison and nobody will hear from you again. Right. And here you won't even pray for the Lord to reduce their numbers. Well, they're doing it to you. They're doing it to you. You better learn, man. You better learn that the Spirit of the Lord ain't all this niceness and kindness and loving everybody. That's not the Spirit of Christ. Right? Christ was against those that was against him. That's right. I lost my connection. Right, so that's like we read in Exodus. That's the same thing that Pharaoh tried to do. Pharaoh tried to do the same thing by reducing the numbers. It's no different, man. And I know Commander Hunter, he bring it out all the time. How this place is a replica of Egypt. That's what Moses said. You're going back into bondage. You're going back into Egypt. Bondage, man. We in the same. The spirit is the same in this place. Right. Let's get Limitations 4 and 10 real quick. Oh, you read? Come on. I gotta read it. That was up.
It's like, so what was that?
Limitations 4 and 10.
Come on. Oh, I got it. It's the book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 10. The hands of the pitiful woman.
Of the what?
Pitiful woman.
Man,
women.
Women who do this, man, they don't understand how pitiful it is for them to just give up on life. And then make an excuse. Like I said, this society has told women that you don't have any responsibility. You don't have any responsibility. You don't have to bring forth that life. And we just read several scriptures that said you did.
Right.
You lie down with that man, one, your body is not your own. You can't just go and abort a baby, you know. And if a brother's telling you to abort a baby, he's wicked. So it's pitiful for you to want to murder. And then get on the internet and cry about it. You're crying because you can't murder. That's a pitiful woman, man. Go ahead.
Come. Have sodden their own children.
They what?
Sodden their own children.
Man, that's what's going on in this nation, man. Let me get that definition of sodden.
So, wow.
What internet so jacked up?
I lost my connection too. Okay. Like soil. It's like why is the internet so slow? So like, did yours come back up with my brother?
That's what I was thinking when you said that one like soil, soda.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the right. I just wanted to make sure. All right, go ahead.
Come. Have sodden their own children.
Mm-hmm. And that's terrible too, man. These is your children, right? It's like if the shoe was on the other foot, if it was men wanting to murder children after the fact, like it would be an uproar. Like a baby comes out and the father says, you know what, I don't want this the baby here, I don't want it now. I'm just gonna murder it. Like it would be an uproar.
Right.
But science says, like, this is the white man's science. He's already proven, like, these babies is alive when they're in the womb. There's not like a dead baby, then it come out and it's alive. These babies is alive in your stomach. So you try to understand, I'm just trying to understand the logic. No one understands the logic that these women are trying to have when it comes to abortion. Right. Really what it comes down to is being a selfish, wicked, evil monster. That's really what it comes down to. Right? You don't want to do the right thing. You want to live your best life. You want to be a whore and not have any consequences. That's what it boils down to. The Lord is against you. And the Lord is going to destroy you for it. Go ahead.
Come. They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people.
Right? They're the meat. The children are the meat when they shouldn't be. They're eating the children. In the destruction of his own people. Meaning you destroying your own people by eating them. What's the analogy? Like it's like you don't. It's like somebody who has well, that's the analogy. It's like you eating children. You're not literally eating the children, but you're destroying them all the same by killing them. Right. You're destroying them all the same. And like I said, that number is insane. 350,000 abortions a year in our amongst our people.
Right.
That's every 3 years, that's 1 million more Israelites. And we buy into the whole mentality that it's too many of us because Esau says it.
Right.
Esau also says it ain't enough land for everybody. And you got some devils with, thousands of acres by themselves. So you trying to tell me it ain't enough room for everybody on the planet? I think you're lying. I think you just want to destroy me and my people.
Right. And if I could,
You got it.
the oppressor always saying, quoting stuff that he has no clue what the hell he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He'll say he estimate how many people on the planet, which he don't know how many people on the damn planet. How the hell would he know how many people is everywhere? And he ain't everywhere.
Right.
He ain't got no count from everywhere. They can't even get an accurate consensus of the people in America. And so he'll say, oh, there's this many animals left here, and this many that left there, and this is like this over here. He always making claims that he don't have no real proof. There are always these estimates, and then at least black people, this is estimates and guess to them, to the white man.
Mm-hmm.
But to us, we look at it like, that's how it is.
Yeah.
That's a fact. They really know. They know how many stars, how many this, how many that.
Right.
But people don't know crap. They don't know nothing more than you know.
Right.
They're taking educated guesses, just like, because all the countries don't count how many people in every country.
Right.
You go to these little islands, they got 200,000, you don't know how many people on the island. You don't even know how many people in the Amazon.
Right.
It could be 1 million people in the Amazon, in the whole city of Gold City.
Right.
How the hell would they know?
Right.
So they don't know every damn thing and everybody, where everybody at, and to be making all these claims, there's this much this, this much that. Nah, that's how much y'all have. You know what I mean? But that ain't what it is.
Right.
So don't be trusting that's what the scripture scale called science falsely so called.
Right.
Which is science that's false. It's not really science. It's really pseudoscience. But the oppressor sit there the same way he say, oh, this bowl or this rock is 200 million years old.
Yeah.
How the hell you know how old some rock is? Then they take 20 years later, they come out and say, oh, it was inaccurate. We found a new way. It's really not 200 million years old. But he done sold you on it. Told you all this nonsense and foolishness.
Right.
And things like that. Go ahead.
That's funny too, because black people should know them numbers ain't accurate because half Negroes don't even fill out their census. They're like, I don't know how they're gonna use this information. I know they should come to our field like, man, we ain't filling that out. Black people don't trust you gathering information. You know what I mean? Right. That was heavy. I just wanted to say that should be, black people should know that because we definitely not proponents of, that damn census. So take me up to verse 3, Bubba Shot.
Come on, sir. It's the book of Lamentations, chapter 4 and verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
Even the sea monsters draw out the breast.
Man, this is so crazy that the Most High had brothers write down in these scriptures things that are so relevant today. Like this was written thousands of years ago. And it was a brother in the scriptures that said, you know what? These broads is wicked. Even sea monsters give suck to their young. You got some damn ocean creature loving its baby. It's a damn monster. You get in the water, it's gonna gobble you up, rock your ship, destroy other little sea creatures and fish and destroying everything. Guess what? Even that thing gives suck to its young. Read that word again, Barbara Shepard.
Come on. Even the sea monsters draw out the breast.
That should put sisters to shame right there. Not all sisters, right? This don't apply to all sisters. But it applies to a good bit of sisters, right? If you made the mistake, now here's the other thing too. Don't take this class as being against sisters who had an abortion in the past and repented. This ain't for you. Just like if I teach a class on smoking and a brother used to smoke, but he don't smoke anymore, the class ain't for him.
Right.
You can't look at it and say, oh, the ISUPK is against women. No, we're against sin. That's what we're against. Don't take anything personal if it don't apply to you. If it apply to you, then it do. If you don't want to give suck to that child, just know that the Lord said in the scriptures, even the sea monsters do it. They love their kids. Now, are you better than a sea monster or are you worse? The Lord made you better than man is above every creature on earth. So if a base creature can love its young, then you damn sure can.
Right.
You damn sure can. You damn sure can get the help you need. Maybe you can't go popping in the club as much as you want. Maybe you can't twerk every time you want to.
Right.
Maybe you can't go down to Miami on the weekend and, you know, be a thot all weekend. Maybe you can't do all the wonderful, you know, all the things in your mind that's great and wonderful. But guess what? Ain't nothing better than raising a kid in the spirit of the Lord.
Right. Right.
That carries on your lineage.
And if I could,
You gotta
they talk about all this black girl magic and all that crap. And when it comes to a baby, it's like they can't do nothing. I can't go to school because I have a baby. You can't go to school and have a baby. People do it all the time. I can't have a job and have a baby. People have jobs and babies.
God damn, Cap. If I could, that's so super heavy. That's crazy because that is a saying amongst, you know, you're raised to be, you know, some strong young black girl, and they teach you black girl magic, and they have Michelle Obama up there, and like, black women can do it all. Well, if you can do it all, you damn sure can raise a kid and go to college and work a job.
Right, and pick a good husband.
Yeah.
That you ain't gonna raise a kid by yourself.
Right.
Make it happen.
Where's that magic? That was heavy. That's funny too, because you damn sure should use some of that fairy dust, that black girl magic you got in your purse.
They got all these pictures of the black women naked, ass out with a flower in her ear, talking about she's a goddess and everything like that. I ain't never seen no goddess struggle to take care of no baby.
Mm-hmm.
The gods, they ain't struggling to take care of nothing. They got plenty of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we so great, the queen. I ain't seen no queen kill her subjects to starvation.
Mm-hmm.
She's so broke. What kind of queen is that?
Right.
Hey, I ain't seen no queen that couldn't afford food and couldn't take care of her family or her kingdom, queendom. So, you know, they need to cut it out. You know what I'm saying? All that talk they talking. They did all the talk. They can't walk.
Mm-hmm.
So they just cut it out.
Listen, that's exactly it, and that's kind of what we were talking about earlier. Is like, you got to understand, you can't do what you want to do and not be accountable for your actions. Like, they don't let, there's a bajillion sisters on the internet bashing brothers because they're not being responsible or accountable. Well, the same way that you try to hold men accountable, you should hold other sisters accountable too. You should let them know that one, it's against the Lord to abort your baby. Two, you're not giving the baby a choice. You talk about women's choice, right? And you know, it's my body. Well, that little bitty pea in your belly, it has a body now too. What about their choice? What about the baby's choice? The baby don't get a choice? The baby don't gotta say so in it? Like, you could just get a baby up. You could have a baby and immediately somebody come in there and swoop the baby up, and then that'll be it. But you're not giving the baby a choice.
Right.
So the same thing that you fighting for in society, you taking away from somebody else because you don't see them as a human at that point. But they are. Science, again, Esau science has proven it. Your oppressive science has proven there's heartbeats. That's how they do ultrasound. They hear a heartbeat. Boop, boop, boop. That thing's alive. So the same thing that you fighting for, you taking away from something because it's not in your face, or it can't say, I want to live. I guarantee you, them babies want to live.
That's right.
Them babies want to live just like you want to live. You want to go and have Twerk Fest 2000 and do whatever you want to do and live your best life. Well, the baby want to live his best life too.
Right.
Any more on that, my boy?
Come. They give suck to their young ones. The daughter of my people is become cruel.
Oh, man. The Lord cut some of these sisters around. The Lord cut some of you sisters on that one, man. Like, that is a terrible analogy. You're being compared to a sea monster. Right. No intellect, you know, just instinct. Right. You know, you got some creature in the ocean or some, you know, some lion, all they got is instinct. That's what the Lord gave them, instinct. You ain't got to teach a lion, well, I can't say they teach the cubs how to do it, but you ain't got to teach them how to, you know, kill. They know they got to eat. That's instinct. Some sea creature only has instinct. You was given intellect in the spirit of the Lord. And they said you become cruel. Even the sea monsters get sucked. You got that, motherfucker.
If I will, sir, it's quite interesting what it says. It says they become cruel, or it says is become cruel.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can become cruel, that means they can become pleasant.
Right.
You can become pleasant. And, you know, this is so heavy what we do in ISUPK.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we get sisters on the right path and just, you know, they become a new person. You know, I don't want to sound Christian and all that, but, you know, they become a new creation, new person. It's like, man, this sister ain't the same sister. She talks different, walks different, pleasant to be around. It's a different vibe.
Yeah.
So, man, ISUPK under commanding Journey Hall, man, I done seen miracles. Miracles with sisters in this school. Clap up.
And you know, sisters will look at us from the outside and say, well, y'all women listen to y'all because y'all hate women. That's funny because we got a lot of women up in here to be hating women. Right. Some of these brothers got a lot of women. I don't think they hate women. I think we love women up in here. Right. Just like we love brothers. Like, let me get Amos 3:1. Come on, if I could about the show. Oh, was that it on that?
Somebody. So I think it was okay.
Yeah, man. Sisters have become cruel. Sisters have become cruel, and like the Mark was saying, it's, you know, just like you became cruel, you can learn to become a daughter of Zion, right? Or a righteous sister before the Lord. You can do it. You can come in here, you can take that chip off your shoulder, you can not hold men in contempt. I'm talking to some sister at camp one day here in Indianapolis, and she was a lesbian, but she had 2 kids, so she hadn't always been a lesbian. And so she came up and she was mad because Officer Madara was teaching against homosexuality. So she comes up, she's fire hot mad, right? She is steaming, right? So I break it down to him like, yeah, that's in the Bible. She's like, that's not in the Bible. And the chick that she's with, she's like, yeah, it's in there. And then so we chop it up for a minute, and I'm at the table. I'm talking at the table longer than I should, but I'm like really hitting this sister over the head. Everything she say, I'm hitting over the head. And so she like, well, men did this and men did that. I was like, sis, you need to come in here because you hold men in contempt, right? Not, you know, basically telling her like, that's not every brother. You can't lump every brother into, you know, into one thing because you've chosen poorly. And so now every man is this and every man is that. And like, I'm dropping it so heavy, even her woman that she's with is like, yeah, you right, yeah. So she walked away like completely with her mind blown. And I'm just like, our sisters got to stop holding men in contempt. Same way men have to stop throwing away women. Right? It goes both ways. You can't say that we hate sisters in here because we don't. We chastise sisters the same way we chastise brothers. Can I get that?
Come on. This is the book of Amos, chapter 3, and verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel.
This is what he gave to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Just the brothers. Sisters be like, yeah. Nah, he gave this to sisters too. He said against the children of Israel. He didn't say men of Israel. Right. He didn't say that. He said children of Israel. That encompasses the women too. This is what the Lord said. Go ahead.
Come. Against the whole family, which I brought up from the land of Egypt.
He's saying it again. This is against the whole family. This ain't just for the men. Go ahead.
Saying, verse 2. You only have I known of all the families of the earth.
This is for us, man. This is for us. Go ahead.
Therefore, I will punish you.
Therefore, what?
Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities.
For all our iniquities, man. He's going to punish us for that. He chose us. He gave us the covenant. Now, you think because you're a woman, like you're going to get out of this. You think that you're going to, get to run scot-free because American society says that you can go out and be a whore and do what you want to do and not have any consequences. Well, I got to say the truth for you. It's going to hurt your feelings. But the ISUPK is going to tell you right from wrong. Right. We're going to tell you that it's wrong to kill that baby. We're going to tell you that you're being a selfish, evil monster. You lower than a sea monster. Even the sea monsters give suck. We're gonna tell you the truth, just like we tell the brothers the truth. Ain't like because we teach a class on sisters. I rarely teach classes on dedicated to sisters, but this topic has been in the news. And once you see a sister crying on the internet because she can't kill a baby, it's like you gotta teach a class on it. You gotta teach a class on it. Because it's so evil. Like before you had came in, I was telling Kat, it's like if it's sort of like Jeffrey Dahmer or some mass murderer crying because they can't kill anybody else. Because if I was, if I walked into a grocery store and started killing people, and then they locked me up, and then I just started crying because I couldn't kill any more people, they'd be like, yeah, this cat is clinically insane.
Right.
Like sisters is online crying because they can't kill. Like that is,
Right.
it's a normal thing now because it's all about free rights and it's my body. But if you think about it, you are insane.
Right.
It's bananas what we think that we should do. You gotta.
Oh, if I will, sir, it's crazy because our oppressor, he terms things a certain way. He'll reduce what you're saying, the killing of a child, to a medical term, and make it reduce it down to a medical procedure. That way, to lessen the concept of what you're really doing.
Yeah.
And if I will, females that I used to have relationships with before I came to the truth back in the world, I would talk to them, and we would be in a conversation. They would say, "Well, I had an abortion," and then they would go into this dark place where they felt sorrowful, and they would still talk about that. So a lot of women don't realize the aftermath of that. Just because you do that act, it's gonna rise up in your soul. If you're a human, if you got emotions,
you're not a sea monster.
Right? You're not a sea monster, like emotionless. But most women that do that, they regret it. That's my point. So,
Yeah, no, that's true. And what you said earlier about the whole them dumbing it down. What we went over earlier was Exodus. I said, this is the law class, so let's get it straight. It's not a gray area. It's black and white. Thou shalt not kill. Right? Meaning that word meaning murder. Thou shalt not murder. Right? That's the Hebrew word. You can look it up for you Hebrew scholars. You'll see that it says murder. But it's not a complicated thing. Don't let Esau put in your mind like it's some big mystery, or you got to figure out, pi divided by 2 and some damn trigonometry. You ain't got to do that. You got to know that the Lord is against you killing. That's what you got to know. And if you have an abortion, then you're committing murder. It's not a righteous kill. So that is heavy because that's exactly what we was talking about earlier. And that's the whole spirit of this place is to just mask everything.
right.
You want to get high? Oh, try the CBD. Come to the CBD. It's good. Right. It's like they try to mask everything. You want to be a homosexual? Oh, listen, you're it's alternative. You have an alternative lifestyle. Right. Everything is being presented to you in such a way where it's not evil. Well, really, this is what we need to get back to. Right. This right here. This is what we need to get back to. This is going to uncomplicate it for you. In fact, ISUPK is going to uncomplicate it for you. You are a filthy, wicked, disgusting sinner if you commit abortion. Right? And that's what it is. And the Lord is against you. The Lord is against you. And if you don't repent, He is going to destroy you. Any more on that?
Verse 2. You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities.
That's it, man. That's what the Lord said. The Lord said about that. So ain't no, again, what I was bringing out earlier is rarely do me personally, I teach a class on females just because, brothers, the scripture say this, men are sheep flock of my, I'm getting it wrong. Men are the flock of my pastor or something like that. Can you get that for me, folks? Shut up. I'm paraphrasing. I'm butchering that paraphrase. So generally, I teach my teachings, mostly after brothers, and try to get more brothers in here because that's how you build a nation. And it's crazy what we read in Exodus earlier when Pharaoh was trying to murder babies. He said, if it be a man child, kill him. If it be a woman child, leave her alone, leave her alive. Why is that? Because you need men for a nation. I know you sisters, like you into live rights, right? You want to be liberated. You want to thou art loose. You want to do what you want to do. You don't want to be under any kind of restrictions. But let me tell you, that is a bad thing. It's a very bad thing, bro. Just look at again. This is the universe. This is the ISUPK, right? Universal practical knowledge is what we teach. Now, just apply that practical knowledge to a kid. Imagine if you just let a kid just go and do whatever a kid wanted to do. The kid is going to get high. The kid is going to steal. The kid is going to lie. The kid is going to have sex. The kid, not all kids, but most kids, without direction, are going to do the wrong thing. It's not good for you to be able to do whatever it is you want to do. Why? Because it's bad. You're going to do something wrong. Same thing, man. If you're left to do whatever you want to do, you're going to do something against the Lord, which is exactly what abortion is. It's against the Lord. So don't, if you look at this class and you run across the ISUPK and you think that we're the evilest people on the earth, you compare us to Kevin Samuel, right? And you just think we should all kill over and die and you celebrate our death like you're doing the poor brother. Let it be known here today, man, if you ever run across this class, that the ISUPK loves blacks, Hispanics, and Americans. And just like the Lord said in Amos, what we just read, the Lord is going to punish us because he established a covenant with us. So what are we doing? What's our whole goal? It's for you not to get that punishment, man. We don't want to see you dead. We don't want to see babies. We want to build a nation. We need more niggas in America. Ain't you ever thought that? We can have 350,000 this year if y'all would stop killing them. 350. Listen, I'm talking about in 3 years, that's 1 million more niggas. That's more flavor. That's more dance, more athletes, more style, more rap, more whatever, man. Get them Hispanics in here, more tacos. I can't get enough tacos.
If I will,
you got it.
It's more doctors, more solutions to problems that we have today. I mean, we bury treasure. That's what it is. We really bury treasure when we bury our children.
So that's super heavy. That's super heavy right there because you don't know who you murder. The next, in the right spirit, the next is Ben Carson. Now I say that again in the right spirit, but not him. But athletes, like you said, lawyers, all the good stuff. Everything that's good. And think about how many things that black people invented. Like how many inventors are you murdering? You never know because you're not giving them a shot. You got that next one? Now the sister said these scriptures remind me of who not to be. Yeah, most times Christ says if only other sisters would look at us and take that disdain out of their eyes. If they would really clearly see what we're trying to accomplish, it's no different than what we're trying to accomplish with the brothers. We ain't trying to tear down sisters because we feel like we're better than sisters. We're trying to build sisters up. Really is what we're trying to accomplish. Same way we're trying to build brothers up. You got it?
That's like my phone.
The men are the pastor of my life. I get it. Right.
But if I will, when you get that, sir, it's crazy because I guess this thing with Roe versus Wade, they trying to overturn it, or did they overturn it? I'm not.
No, it's on the docket. Okay. That's how this whole class started.
Okay, so front part, but that shouldn't even be a debate. It's life. Like it's not like you just throwing away a bad apple or something that's not. Right. You know what I'm saying? This is life. And the thing is like you said, I don't want so heavy. Everything in this place is about deception. Let's lessen the severity of what the actual action is and the consequence.
Yeah.
If I will.
Yeah, that's damn sure true. It's damn sure true because stuff in the news like this, and then you see the reactions of people, and you see people marching on the justice of the peace, at their homes and stuff, and you try to put it in perspective. If you're in the truth, you like these women are petitioning to murder. Where else is that allowed? In America, where else can you petition to murder somebody. And the only reason they're allowed to do it is because the white man is the devil, as the Bible speaks.
That's right.
That's the only reason. Because again, any other example of trying to murder somebody, people will look at you like you're clinically insane. Right. Ezekiel 34 and 31. Since I was paraphrasing, I just wanted to get it. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's heavy. This is said these scriptures remind me of who not to be. And I think there's so many great examples of sisters in the Bible. And when you see articles like this, the Roe versus Wade possibly being overturned, and you see the reaction of sisters, and then you really get a glimpse of how destroyed we are as people because we're following after the ways of this oppressor. Like, if not for the ISUPK, you would do whatever the oppressor told you to do. How do I know? Because you're doing it now. It ain't no mystery. It's just like we're not fortune tellers in this school. We're just looking at what's happening throughout history. You follow after the ways of the heathen. When the Lord said, don't follow after the ways of the heathen says be a homosexual alternative lifestyle, you go and do it and be number one in it. You sashay and you RuPauling all across the TV. He say get high, you get high. He say get into whatever. You just jump headlong. Right. And we suffer the most, just like in Amos. He's going to punish us. That's why we're number one in AIDS. We're number one in heart disease. We're number one in everything bad because it's against the Lord. It's not a mystery, black people. It's not a mystery. It's no, you don't have to have a, rainbow push coalition and all these churches getting together and doing all this, stuff trying to figure out what's wrong with black people. What's wrong with black people is that the Lord is against us. That's what's wrong. The Lord is against Hispanic people. The Lord is against Native Americans. And he will remain against us until we come back to serve him because he made a covenant with us. You keep my laws and I will be your God. It's as simple as that. You don't have to have a march. You don't have to have, some scientists come and break down all the, things that are wrong with the black community and economics and all that. None of that matters. None of it. The only thing that matters is that each and every one of us learns how to serve the Lord. So he can look down on his nation and say, you know what? My nation has repented. Now I'm going to get them out of this captivity. A lot of y'all don't want to believe that Bible. Y'all waiting on the rapture. Right? You want to be raptured up. You want to, go and have sex is what rapture is. It's sexual. But this is what you should be waiting on. You should be waiting for the Lord to make your enemies his enemies. Only way that's going to happen is if you serve him, man. Let me get that.
Come. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 34 and verse 31. Mm-hmm. And ye my flock.
This is the Lord. The Lord is talking about his flock. Now, we're always, the analogy is always us as lost sheep or sheep, right? And as any good, shepherd, right? He has things that he's established with his flock. Well, we about to read what's established. Go ahead.
The flock of my pastor are men.
Are what?
Are men.
That's why most of my classes, and I don't speak for everybody in the school, but I generally teach a lot of classes kind of directed toward the brothers because we need brothers to build a nation. And why? We read the scripture earlier in 1 Corinthians, how the head of every man is Christ, and the head of every woman is her man. Right. Like you gotta have men run a nation. Guess what? Sisters, you don't want a man in charge over you. Sorry to tell you, you always gonna have a man in charge of you. Right. You always gonna have a man in charge of you. Guess what else sisters don't get, Mark Bob? Right. There's always a man in charge of another man. Always. Right. Sisters don't get that. They think, oh, well, you a man, and like you can't have. They make it a sexist thing. Right. I got brothers younger than me over there. Everybody has a boss. Everybody answers to somebody. We just laid it out in 1 Corinthians. The head of every man is Christ. Christ is in charge of every man, and in between that, you got men over those men. Even Christ answers to God. So if you mad that God don't answer to somebody, then you have to look. But everybody answers to somebody. and you making it about sex when the Lord put us over. Matter of fact, could you give me that in Genesis? How her duty will be unto her husband in Genesis, talking about Eve. Yeah, sisters, don't make it like a thing where, like, you know, well, you ain't got nobody in charge of you. Yes, I do. Even if for brothers that ain't in the ISUPK, they can go to a boss, right? You're gonna answer to somebody. Don't get in the court system. You're gonna be, you know, you're gonna answer to the judge. Everybody answers to somebody. It just so happens the Lord put me in charge of you. I know you don't like it. I know, you know, sisters, y'all gonna come around. Y'all gonna love having a man. Like, some things you just don't have to worry about. You ain't gotta worry about killing that spider. You know what I mean?
Right.
You ain't gotta worry about, you know, wrestling some dog that's came up in the yard trying to bite you. You got it.
It's like, you mean thy desire shall be
Thy desire, yes, like.
to thy husband. It's like, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 3 and verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children.
It's talking about bringing forth children and having sorrow and it being painful. You knowing that you're having a baby. Those are. Ooh, you gonna say something?
Slocky. It says thou shalt bring forth children.
Right.
That means abortion's off the table. It's saying it right here. You're supposed to bring forth them children. Slocky.
Yeah, that damn sure is. It also says be fruitful and multiply.
Right.
Right. But those, I was just gonna use the example that the sorrow in that conception, like you just look at animals, right? And not to say that it'll ever be that easy for a sister, but who knows what the Lord might have is, you know, giving birth might be something so pleasant and wonderful.
Right.
You know, if you was obedient, who knows? Because those animals, they ain't gonna have no trouble. They sit there, push it out, they up and walking, you know, grazing, and you know, an hour later.
Right.
You got to be stitched up and hemmed up, and you know everything is. That's what the Lord said. He's gonna multiply that sorrows. Right. Go ahead.
Come. And thy desire shall be to thy husband.
That's where your desire should be, man. Things is out of order, right? This beast has got things out of order, but the Bible wants your desire to be towards your husband, right? You're supposed to be the helpmate. You're supposed to be. Your whole thing is supposed to be loving and supporting your husband and your family. Now, your husband may not want you at home, you know, cooking and cleaning. He may want you to go out and get a job. Everybody's household is different, right? You know, brothers, you run your house how you want to run your house. But a sister should know, like, her whole duty is to be a helpmate. That's what the Lord gave Adam. He gave Eve as a helpmate. So don't get mad and say, well, you know, I don't want to fulfill that role. Well, that's the role that the Most High gave you. And sisters, you're going to get back in that role. Like, it sounds so horrible for when they hear that. It's like, oh, you're going to put me in a role? Well, guess what? Brothers going to be in a role too. Brothers going to be back in a role where they serve the Lord. And it's going to be better for us as a nation. That's really what we're trying to get you, man.
Right.
We're trying to get you to understand how much better it's going to be for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. If everybody just got back in order, if you didn't kill your babies, let's just start there. Don't kill your baby. Don't, you know, let's back it up. Let's back it up before that. Don't lie with a man who you don't want to be with for life. Let's start there. You don't want to be with him for life, don't sleep with him. You got it.
Slocky, I don't mean to interrupt that.
No, go ahead.
Y'all just so heavy stuff.
Yeah, go ahead, because, you know, we ain't got nobody answering questions no way.
But if I will, we close to the same age, and I know there was a point in which America seemed to have this moral campaign. Remember those campaigns when they was teaching teenagers no sex abstinence?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, they said it was all about don't even have sex.
Yeah.
Where are those at?
Yeah.
Since the feminist movement came in, now they don't even talk about that.
Yeah.
It seems to me like you can have sex instead of just not having sex.
Yeah.
Have sex and not have the consequences.
Yes.
It's like,
No, that's so true, man. And then we latch on to that. Like I was saying earlier, there's that whole spirit to like follow whatever the oppressor do. That's why you hear songs like Hot Girl Summer.
right.
And, you know, living my best life and all this other nonsense that just perpetuates you not having any accountability.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have a nation of men that you want to hold accountable But then sisters just want to do your own thing. It don't work that way. As a matter of fact, the Lord is against it. We read it in Amos. He's going to punish us for it. And what we're trying to accomplish here, man, is to get Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to understand we can live better. We don't have to murder our babies. So don't, just back it up. Start from the beginning, like Mark was saying. Have some abstinence, man. You got all the high-tech vibrators you want nowadays. You can get off any way you need to. You don't have to have a man. Now, eventually you will want a man, but take your time, choose right. The best advice that I can offer any sister is to come in here. Come into the ISUPK, get you a man. If you already got a man and he's not in the ISUPK and you want him to be in the ISUPK, you be as sweet as pie and you change. This is what I tell anybody, male or female. If you want people to follow you, you got to start by changing you. Right? You can't go, and first thing brothers and sisters want to do when they learn the truth is go and drop it heavy on everybody. People don't give a damn about that. Right. Why you think it ain't so many people in the ISUPK? Because no one wants to stop smoking weed. No one wants to stop sleeping with whores. No one wants to give up shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster. No one cares. Right? Because if they did, they already been here. So don't go running in your mouth and thinking that you're going to drop it so super heavy on everybody and they're going to come in here. No, you got to change your life. Why? Because actions speak louder than words. You can't be a hypocrite. You can't say, yeah, come to the ISUPK. We the home of the truth. Right. You can't be at Red Lobster eating up all the shrimp scampi and thinking that somebody going to follow you. They're not. You got to change your life. That's the best way to get people to come into the truth. It's this, now they see like, man, this nigga's crazy. And they go from him being crazy, like he's serious about this. And they go from him being serious about this to saying, man, he doing better. He's living a better life. He's making smart, he's righteous. He's not a liar. He's not a thief. She's not a whore. She's not an adulterer. That's how you get people to come into the truth. People that you know anyway. People you don't know. Leave that to us. We're going to drop it on. We're going to be all over the internet here in a minute. Right? You understand? Where we leave off at?
Come on, sir. This is Genesis chapter 3 and verse 16.
Oh, is it anymore?
Come on. And it read, in sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee.
That's the part I want. That's the part I want. He shall rule over you. Now, of course, if you're in the world, you don't understand how marriages work. Again, this is the law class, right? According to the Bible, right? According to the law, to the commandments, to the statutes, right? What the Lord established as the rules for us to follow as a people. Once you have sex with a man, that is now your husband. Now, in your simple mind, you may think because he has another woman, he cannot have you too. That is false. That is an American doctrine. I can't even say American. That's a oppressor's doctrine, right? AKA the white man. That's his doctrine. He's come up with that a man can only have one woman. Meanwhile, he's sleeping with all the kids that he can get his hands on. Right. So, and then two men can get married. So what does that even mean for you to have, one and one? I thought it was, I thought you could. It's supposed to be man and woman. Now you got man and man. You got people marrying animals. So, this is insane. But you got to understand what marriage is. Once you understand what marriage is, you let a man stick his penis in you, you're married to that man. Now it says that man, according to, read that last part again, Papa Shah.
Come. And he shall rule over thee.
Now that man rules over you. If he put his penis in you, he rules over you. Does that mean you have to do something unlawful? No. You are not allowed, because he rules over you, you are not allowed to do something unlawful against God. In other words, you're not allowed to do that. But if he says, can you make me a grilled cheese? Can you bake me an apple pie? I need you to go and do this. I need you to go and do that. He rules over you. He is your Lord. He's in charge of you. He's responsible for you. Now, it's not all, fun and games for him. He can't just, abuse you, of course. He's going to need help. If he's got a brother like that, contact the school, see if you can get help. But that brother's in charge of you. He's also responsible for you. He also has to make sure that you're good. Long story short, you two are now married in a relationship. Although you might not have intended for it to be a relationship, it's a relationship in the eyes of the Lord. And it's a relationship that does not end until one of you dies. It's for life. And now that you know what marriage is according to the Bible, now you know. You can't just go and kill a baby because now there's a man that rules over you. Well, there's scenarios. What if he's not around? What if he left? What if it's a one-night stand? One, you repent from that because that's being a whore. Two, you can get help. You don't have to kill that baby. Join the ISUPK if you're Black, Hispanic, and Native American. This is not for anybody outside of that. If you happen to run across this video, keep scrolling. This video is not for you.
Right.
Was that it?
Kind of, sir, but I do have a question.
Yeah.
What if somebody would say, well, what if I was raped? What would you say about that?
Yeah. The Lord don't give a damn about you being, well, let me rephrase.
It's a lot.
Let me rephrase that. It doesn't matter how the baby got there, right? If you don't want the child, you can give up because the scripture says, and I'm paraphrasing, when the righteous are in rulership, the people rejoice, right? But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn, right? In a society where Christ, right, Jesus Christ, as you know him, right? In a society where Christ rules, rapists will be put to death. It's a death penalty offense. So let's just start there. Let's say that's how the Lord feels about rape, right? That's how we feel about rape. Of course, this is not our kingdom, and we're not allowed to put anybody to death. But in Christ's kingdom, Jesus Christ's kingdom, rapists will be put to death, right? And so if you're raped and your baby is a result as a rape, you can give that baby up. But you're not, just because someone else committed a sin, you're not allowed to then go and commit a sin by murdering somebody, which is what it would be. And although it would be a very difficult and hard and I'm sure heartbreaking scenario for a sister who's raped, you're still not allowed to murder. You can't add sin to sin. You can't do that. You can't murder somebody because somebody did you wrong. It's again, it would be very traumatizing. It would be heartbreaking. It would be something that I wouldn't wish on any sister. But at the same time, I can't then go and say, well, you go, it's fine, the Lord forgive. No, the Lord don't want you to murder. And that's it. That's how the Lord feels about it. You got it.
If I will, and I mentioned that because that's the argument I hear sometimes when people want to have a loophole to commit abortion. Now, there's a man, and a lot of Christians will know this man's name. I think his name is James Robinson. He's the white dude that goes to Africa and feed those Africans and stuff like that. Well, not that I'm bigging up Christianity or nothing like that, but he was the result of rape. And according to, even, America's, morals, they would say, well, those are good works. He feeds the poor, So he was the result of rape. And he was able to do what America would say is tremendous works. And my point in saying that is to the sisters out here, yeah, that would be a terrible thing, but you don't know what the Most High would have planned for the child. So
Yeah, for real. And it's like, you could handle it a couple ways. You could say, you know what? I'll raise the child and I'll teach that child to never rape anybody. I'll raise that child in the ISUPK and he's going to be great and wonderful and do amazing works. Or you could just get a baby up. It might be too traumatizing, Or, right? You could really let it consume you and destroy you. It could go several ways, but just know that the Lord don't want you to murder that kid. You come into the ISUPK and get any help that you need. Right? That's what we're here for, is our people, to love and support and help build a nation. So I'm pretty much up on the time. I don't see any questions in the chat. If there's no questions, but my Bob, you gonna take the questions? You showed up today, clutch up on my Bob. Wednesdays, you have to come in here for a little bit. I appreciate that. We ain't been having nobody in the city act like they want to stop by. Y'all don't come and see us. Y'all can come by and see us. Y'all trying to dodge our ass if you can. We all in your face, in your grill. We at the city council meetings. Right. We at the Christian church. We at the ribbon cutting ceremonies. We all in your face. You're not gonna get away from us. Pretty soon, y'all gonna get up in these classes. Y'all gonna stop being afraid. Y'all not gonna watch it. Y'all come in this class. Get in here so we can look at you and say, oh, smell weed on you. Then I'm gonna change my topic. And I'm gonna say weed. Come in here, man, and get this chastisement that you need to grow and learn and get all the way up to this truth, man. So with that, I'm gonna pass the class to preach my talk.
Security announcements. We got ISUPK starting out on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When the new brother comes into the school, they are new brother or sister. I forgot to say the sister. Get that off of me. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to check themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother and sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get